Creating speed is all about the hands. One of the simplest ways to help swimmers learn to use the hands more effectively is change their shape. One of the easiest ways to change their shape is to have swimmers hold something in their hands. Hi everyone, Andrew here, helping you help your swimmers get faster. The more effectively swimmers can learn to use their hands and use their arms, the more effectively they're going to be able to create propulsion and create speed. Better swimmers more effectively manipulate the water and position their arms to create speed. If we want swimmers to improve, we have to improve their ability to use their arms effectively. In this video, we'll take a look at one of my favorite strategies to make that happen. When it comes to creating propulsion and reducing drag, it's really important to consider the functions of the hands. In terms of creating propulsion, because there are so many sensory receptors in the hands relative to the forearm, swimmers tend to really focus on what the hands are doing to create speed. The problem is that the forearms are just as big a surface area, and they too can be used to create a ton of propulsion with the upper body. And so because swimmers are focused almost exclusively on the hands, they miss the opportunity to use the whole arm to create propulsion, and that ultimately limits their ability to go fast. The hands are also relevant when it comes to reducing drag as well. When swimmers lose alignment, they will tend to compensate with their hands in order to create stability. So if you've seen swimmers take this big breath and start sculling with their hands, that's what's happening. They're using their hands to create stability, and they've lost it. They've lost their alignment when they've taken that poor breath. It happens with very big movements like that, and it also happens in subtle ways that are more difficult to detect. The issue here is that if swimmers are compensating for their loss of alignment with their hands, that means they're not addressing the real problem, which is a loss of position in the torso. And second, if the hands are trying to compensate for a loss of stability, trying to create stability, well, they're not going to be used to create propulsion. Ultimately, we want to solve alignment problems at the root cause, and that's going to allow swimmers to use the arms to create speed. And so if swimmers are compensating for losses of alignment with the hands, it's another missed opportunity to go faster. So what can we do? We can have swimmers hold objects in their hand. If they close the hand, that changes everything. We can help them learn how to create more propulsion because they have to learn to use the forearm. If the hand is closed, they're going to have much less surface area to pull with. So if they want to go anywhere, they're going to have to reposition the arms so the whole arm, the whole forearm is facing backwards, and that allows them to move forward. So simply by taking the hand away, we can create an environment where it's easier for swimmers to learn these key skills. We can also help them improve alignment. So if we take away the hands again by holding an object, we're removing the ability to use sculling compensations to prevent a loss of body alignment. So they have to manage their torso, they have to manage their position and posture more effectively because again, they can't compensate if they lose those positions. So by taking away their crutches, their compensations, they have to solve the real problem. These same outcomes can be achieved by just having swimmers close their fist. The advantage of holding the object is that it gives them something concrete to focus on, something concrete to hold on. And if they open their hand up, it becomes very difficult to hold onto the ball, hold on to whatever you're having them hold. Whereas if they're doing closed fists, it's pretty easy to start opening things up without them even realizing it. If they start to do that with the ball, especially if they're swimming with any sort of speed, they're going to lose it really, really quickly. The other advantage of holding objects is that different objects, particularly different types of balls, have different impacts on what swimmers are feeling. First of all, tennis balls can be really effective, and they're just going to be a simple way to help swimmers close the fist. One of the advantages here is that it's usually easy to get a lot of tennis balls for free. If you can find a local tennis team of some sort, they're almost always giving away balls for free. Balls that are no longer fit for practice or competition, but work wonders for what we're trying to accomplish. You can also have swimmers hold a golf ball, and usually they'll hold it like this. And so this also reduces the amount of surface area that they have, but this still allows them to have the 3 fingers on the outside open. So that can put more pressure on those fingers, help them learn how to use those fingers more effectively. Similar impact, slightly different feel. You can also have swimmers hold a lacrosse ball, and the advantage there is that it's got a little bit of weight to it. So it's going to have a different feel when they're pulling, when they're recovering, and so it's just a different stimulus that can be useful. Wiffle balls are shaped the same way. They're plastic, they have holes in them, and so when swimmers are pulling, they tend to be a little bit unstable. And so again, they have to be really controlled, they have to be really effective with what they're doing, or they're going to struggle to accomplish the goals of the set. And of course, you don't have to use balls. Anything you can find, anything that will force swimmers to close or grasp something can be useful. It's just a matter of seeing what's available, taking advantage of it, and using it. In each case, different objects will have slightly different effects, and so you can rotate between those different objects, whether they're balls or something different, and that can create more novelty, more stimulus to help swimmers learn. Because this strategy can positively impact both alignment and propulsion, it's really important to have clarity. You want to know what you want to accomplish. So what stroke are you going to target? What skill are you going to target? Is it going to be propulsion? Is it going to be alignment? And then what type of training context are you going to do it in? Is it going to be endurance work, race work, speed work? What's it going to be? Having clear goals is really, really important because it makes set design so much more effective. It also helps swimmers be a lot more clear about what they're trying to accomplish, and it's really helpful for you as a coach to be clear about how you're going to communicate with swimmers. If it's a propulsion set, you probably don't want to be talking about their breathing. So by having clarity, we can avoid those issues. Now, when using this strategy, it's not just about doing some 25s easy. You want to challenge it. So you can use resistance to further challenge their ability to create propulsion and hold water with their whole arm. You can also use resistance to challenge their alignment. And again, they're not going to be able to use their hands to compensate. They're going to have to use their body, their torso, to manage their position. You can ask for performance, whether that's hitting certain speeds, certain stroke rates, certain stroke counts. That's going to require them to do whatever they're doing at a higher and higher level. When it comes to helping swimmers create more propulsion, you can also isolate the arms, putting a band or a buoy on the legs so that it forces swimmers to learn how to create propulsion with the upper body and prevents them from compensating with the legs. And whatever drills you want to do, whether they're alignment drills or propulsion drills, you can use the objects to further challenge swimmers' ability to execute those drills at a high level and help them learn how to perform those skills even better. This set is all about helping swimmers create more propulsion in butterfly in a speed context. So they're going to go 225s butterfly with tennis balls. They're going to minimize stroke count and time on number 1, and they're going to go fast on number 2. Then they're going to do the same thing with golf balls, and then they'll do the same thing, and then they'll do the same thing with open hands. So on the odd 25s, we're challenging swimmers to create length and speed at the same time. They're going to have to create a ton of propulsion, and they're going to have to do so efficiently. And then on the second one, they're just going to go as fast as they can. Use those same skills to create as much speed as possible. On the first 2, we're going to have swimmers use tennis balls to force them to use their whole arm to create as much propulsion as possible. On the golf balls, we're going to put a little bit more pressure on the outside of the hand. They're going to be able to open up some of the hand. They still have to create as much length and speed as possible, and then we're going to give them the chance to make it all happen with open hands at the end. They're going to go 3 times through that, trying to be better each round. So by using the objects, we're putting more pressure on the ability to hold a ton of water, especially in a speed context. This is a freestyle skill set, and we're challenging swimmers' breathing. So they're going to start off with 425s paddle cap freestyle. They're going to have a paddle on their head. They're going to be swimming forward, and they have to make sure that the paddle stays on their head. If they breathe by lifting the head or pulling it to the side, the paddle is going to come off. So they're going to breathe every 3, so they're going to have to master breathing to both sides, which is more difficult with the paddle, and they're going to descend those 1 to 4. By using the tennis balls, if they make a mistake with their breathing, even if they keep the paddle on, they're not going to be able to compensate or scull with their hands, so they're going to have to be really dialed in, really locked in with their breathing. They can't lose their alignment when they execute this drill because the tennis balls prevent them from compensating. After the 425s, they're going to go 100 freestyle, solid effort, and they're going to do another set of 425s, and then they're going to go another 50 freestyle. This time, it's going to be a strong effort. So we're taking a drill that's really effective at helping swimmers improve their breathing skills and their alignment skills, and we're further challenging that by using the tennis balls, which is going to make it more and more difficult to execute that skill really well. And if they make any mistakes, they're not going to be able to use their hands to compensate, and then we'll give them the opportunity to try to put it all together with some solid and strong freestyle efforts. Next set is a backstroke endurance set, and we're going to help swimmers learn how to hold more water with their upper body. They're going to go 475s backstroke with a buoy. So we've got the buoy in. They can't use their legs to compensate. They've got to descend 1 to 4 at the same stroke count, so they have to create more speed without taking more strokes. That's going to require them to be more effective with each pull. Then they're going to go 150 backstroke solid effort, and then each round they're going to add a 50 strong. So the first round is just 150 solid. Then the second round it's 100 solid plus a 50 strong, and then the third round 50 solid plus 100 strong, and then the fourth round is all strong. Now in those 75s, we're going to further increase the challenge. Round 1, they're going to use golf balls in their hands. Round 2, they're going to use lacrosse balls in their hands. Round 3, they're going to use tennis balls. And round 4, they're going to have open hands. So not only do they have to descend 1 to 4 at the same stroke count, and not only do they have the buoy in, we're further challenging their ability to use their whole arm to create propulsion by holding different objects by round. On the last round, they'll open the hands up. They should be better than all the previous rounds. And again, they're trying to get better on those 150s, and they're trying to take what they learned during the 75s and apply it during those 150s to create as much speed as possible. For more on how to use tennis balls to help swimmers improve their speed and skills, check out the video below.